What's up guys, Rideshare Guy here, and today I've got a video for you about auto insurance and more specifically rideshare insurance. So we're going to be answering the question, can I cancel my auto insurance policy and switch to rideshare insurance at any time? So as you guys know, insurance for rideshare drivers is a bit of a complicated issue, but to sum it up kind of quickly is basically if you have a personal policy, they won't cover you during period one. So when you're sitting around with the app on, waiting for a fare, driving around looking for a fare, you're not covered by personal insurance, right? Most personal insurance companies won't cover you. Now, you do have coverage from Uber and Lyft, but at lower liability limits than during period 2 and 3 once you have you're en route to a passenger, once you have a passenger in the car, right? So basically, really the risk for drivers is during that period 1 time. If you don't have rideshare friendly insurance, you're covered by Uber and Lyft at lower liability limits, but you also don't have any collision coverage, right? So if you get into an accident during that time, you're not going to be covered by anyone, not your personal insurer and not Uber and Lyft for damage to your car. And obviously every accident I've ever been into, there's been damage to my car. So it's kind of something that's pretty necessary, right? Especially if you have a newer car. So it's definitely something to keep in mind. And, luckily there are more and more rideshare insurance friendly options every single day. And the pricing is actually super competitive with regular personal insurance because really you don't need a whole lot of other coverage. You just need these companies to say, hey, we're not going to drop you for being a rideshare driver, which doesn't cost them anything. And then they also need to cover you during this period 1. And I mean, for a lot of drivers, you're just sitting there parked on the side of the road. So the risk isn't super high, but there is some risk if you start driving around, even if it's only 5 minutes, right? You get hit during that time, you have no collision coverage. And now you have to pay for a brand new, for all the damage to your car, which obviously would suck. Some drivers that I've talked to have even gotten lower rates. So obviously that's probably not going to be the typical case. If you go out and switch to rideshare insurance, it should only be 5 to 10% more than what you currently pay. And obviously this is going to vary a lot depending on your driving record and which companies you go with. But I mean, in a place like California, where there's now 7 different options, I've talked to quite a few drivers who have actually switched from like a Geico or something like that to a different carrier. And since there's so many, they get a bunch of quotes and they actually are able to save money, which is a pretty cool thing, right? So you can actually save money by switching to rideshare insurance. But the thing that most people actually don't realize, especially new drivers, is that if you have personal insurance right now and you're watching this video and you're thinking to yourself, man, I need to switch to rideshare insurance, you actually don't need to wait until your premium is paid out, right, on your personal policy. So normally insurance companies might require a 3-month payment or a 6-month payment. If you do month to month, they might charge more. So most people pay like 6 months, right? Like my policy is every 6 months. So if you do have personal insurance and you're on a 6-month policy, for example, you actually don't have to wait until that 6 months is over to cancel your policy. You can cancel it today with most companies and get a prorated refund. So if you have 3 months left, let's say you're 3 months into your 6-month contract and you paid $500, they'll send you $250 back in the form of a check, which is obviously pretty nice, pretty cool, right? Because then you can go and switch to rideshare friendly insurance today, right? And, it's kind of important, especially, if you're looking and you're kind of worried about that risk. And I think that it's kind of a no-brainer to at least go and get a quote. I kind of verified, I wanted to make sure that this was possible, that you could cancel your personal insurance and switch to rideshare insurance and still get that prorated refund. I verified with one of my State Farm agents that's on our insurance options database in California. And he said, yep, that this is how it works with them. And then a couple others also confirmed it. So it may vary. I mean, you may have a company that doesn't allow that, or maybe they required a prepayment in full. And in that case, you probably have to wait or look into other options, but almost every company, will allow you to cancel your policy at any time. And I mean, I've done this in the past, right? A few years ago, I had my personal insurance, it was like some company like Geico or something like that. And I found a cheaper quote from someone else. So I canceled my policy that day and they sent me a prorated refund and I switched to the new company and saved $100. So it's definitely easy to do. And, these companies definitely make it easy to go out and get a quote, especially if you have multiple options in your state. And the reason why it's important for rideshare drivers, though, and why this topic is so important is because if you have personal insurance and you're waiting for it to expire to get rideshare insurance, you're putting yourself at risk, right? Not only are you putting yourself at risk that your insurance company is going to somehow find out that you're a rideshare driver and drop you, which is never a good thing. You're also putting yourself at unnecessary risk that if you get into an accident, accident during that period one, that you're not going to have collision coverage from your personal insurer or Uber or Lyft. So it's definitely something that you want to look into and at least get a quote. We've got a database of rideshare-friendly insurance options that's super organized, lists it all out by state, because obviously, Geico might be in California and State Farm might be in California as options, but they might not be in every single state. So we have it listed out by state and all the options that are available to you by state. And if you have any questions, we also work with a few agents who really understand rideshare insurance and will be more than happy to answer any questions that you might have. So definitely check that out. We'll leave a link in the show notes below. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Feel free to like, comment, or subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.